The Alumni Relations Cell of Sriram College of Commerce is delighted to present a remarkable story of our student and our alum, Ruchir Sharma, batch of 1994, Chairman Rockefeller International, a global investor, economist, author, columnist, and what have you. He wears so many hats, and he had a very successful 25 years with Morgan Stanley, and then he moved on and he started Breakout Capital Investments.
Yes, that's the Breakout Capital. Yes, after my first book.
After your first book, and you opted for named after the first book, and you're the founder and the chief investing officer.
Yes.
And you deal basically with emerging markets.
I find it's focused on emerging markets, but all my writings, everything else I do is global in nature. Yes.
All right. So a person wearing so many hats, I don't know where do I start with you. So let me start by asking you, what was your story behind joining Sriram College of Commerce, and what happened? Like, what was it? Was it?
But I think that even back then, in the early 1990s, Sriram College of Commerce always was one of the best colleges in India. And for commerce, it's always been banked as the best college in India. And so I was always fascinated by the investment world. And so it was very natural for me to do something like a BCom honors, as I did from SRCC. Because even though the choices were very limited, and SRCC was at the top of the game. And the great thing about the college has been that even now, when I look at the rankings, SRCC is still top of the game. I don't think there is any such institute in India where they have maintained such a lead over other colleges and been at the top of the league tables for so long. So obviously, as a young student back then, you always aspired to go to the top colleges, and SRCC was there. And so that's why and given my natural interest in investment, commerce, economics, it was a very logical thing for me to do.
Yes. Thank you for actually, we still are the best. Yeah. Right. So, while you were in SRCC, I remember, I know that you were writing for what, Financial Express or Financial Economic Times.
Yeah.
What, you were 70?
Yeah, I started writing at a young age. In fact, after I finished my high school, I started to write for for a paper called Business and Political Observer for a few months. But Economic Times is where I really began my long-term relationship when I was at SRCC. So I started a column for them called Forex Watch. And of course, the key thing then was that nobody at the Economic Times knew that I was still a student at SRCC. So that was a well-kept secret. But I would write this column for them. It would come out every Sunday under my byline. And at that age, it was very exciting to have your own byline and your own column. So it was a column I used to write. But it was called Forex Watch, and it covered, to start with, maybe what happened in the world, in the foreign exchange world in a particular week. But I really used that as a platform then to write about lots of global macroeconomic issues. I extensively wrote, for example, I remember in 1992 for the Economic Times about the US presidential election at that point in time between Clinton and Bush Sr. So it was a fascinating time. India was also, their interest in the rest of the world was opening up at that point in time because it was liberalizing, it was opening its markets to the rest of the world. So it was a great time to be covering global markets at that time.
I have to also confess that I still remember, Ruchir, you bringing in an article and showing it to me, and I was totally flabbergasted, flummoxed. I didn't know the first thing. So I have no qualms in admitting that actually the role was reversed. I was the student and he was my teacher.
All right.
And no wonder you have been recognized by the World Economic Forum and I would say, the so many other, Bloomberg and what have you as an economist as well. So congratulations on that, and we are so proud.
Thank you.
Other than that, while you were in SRCC, were you involved in any other societies or extracurricular activities or or maybe your art or athletics or something?
Because I was writing and I was that took a lot of my time and energy. I did, if I can be very frank, that I kept my focus on the college, and then on my writing. Uh, and the writing involved a lot of going to the Economic Times office because apart from writing a weekly column, I at times write some special features for them, such as covering the 1992 U.S. presidential election. So it was very sort of focused, which is that either I was in college or I was focused on my writing. I tried for a while to join things like there was some organization they call ISEC,
Yeah,
which existed back then, but I didn't quite find it as a fit for me. So I gave that up pretty early, and then I was quite happy, just writing and coming to college, and we had some very remarkable faculty. We had some great students also, like who I make very good friends with, some of whom I'm still in touch with. So I think that it's about just focus. That I was focused on college and focused on my writing, and I didn't do much else outside of that in terms of extracurricular activities.
So, could I say that you in SRCC made some lasting bonds? Like you said, some friends you're still in touch with, and they kind of left some kind of an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in fact, if my history was such that when I grew up, I was my father was in the Navy, so he'd be transferred to different locations, and because of that, we could do many schools.
Right.
So in fact, I never spent 3 years in any institution, and SRCT was the first institution in which I actually spent 3 full years. Because everywhere else, even before SRCC, I was at DPS RP program. I barely spent over a year there. And then before that, I was in Singapore or and even there, I went to 2 different schools when I was in Singapore over 3 years. So I didn't get to spend 3 years in any institution. So SRCC was the first institution where I spent 3 years. And because of that, obviously, I ended up making more friends there and more enduring relationships on the back of that.
And is there any faculty, professor, which left some kind of a lasting impact on you, or you remember fondly, or somebody that you thought was, a guiding light or something like that?
But I see that it was very impressive faculty. Obviously, we kept in touch after that, so that was very nice. And then I remember a couple of teachers. I remember like one of them went on to become the principal. In fact, Dr. PC Jain.
Yes.
Yes, I remember him. Like very fondly.
General.
Yeah, exactly. Like as a very sort of calm personality.
Yes.
Of that time. So yeah, but apart from that, because I moved out, as you know, I went to New York a few years after being at SRCC and stuff. So some of those relationships were did quite last for that long. But I was very happy that in 2019 I published my book on India called Democracy on the Road, and that it was very interesting because one of the interviewers then they were keen to go back to SRCC and film my time there. So we went to SRCC, we filmed there. This was for a show called Jab We Met with Rahul Kandwal at India Today.
Proudly.
So we filmed that show, in fact, partly at SRCC, walking around.
So, what was your feeling when you went back to SRCC after so many years? And what went through your mind?
No, it was as I said. I just had such a delightful time at SRCC. It was, it was such a good combination because they had such a an interesting cast of characters there. So there was like I only have fond memories of our time at SRCC, and I still have friends, as I said, who I remained in touch with. Some of them who were apostles, some of them like who were day scholars. So just lots of fond memories, and I really enjoyed the walkthrough. And in many ways, what's great about the institution is that it's not changed that much. Which is that at least the facade, looks still very much the same. I'm sure there are internal changes which have happened, and there's a lot of modern stuff which has happened. But the great thing about the inspiration from that I could see is that, uh, and this is a good thing that you could say about like even great hotels or other places in Mitchell Tech, where you have when the basic facade maintains its historical roots, but from inside there is enough renovation which is done to make it modern. So I found that combination still existed when I went to SRCC in 2019.
And you must come back again because now, of course, like we are a heritage college, so we have maintained that facade. But inside, we are a smart class.
Yes, that's right.
And but we also are in the process of upgrading. But yes, I also want you to tell us, take us through your journey when you left college, right? After that, what all have you been?
Yeah, so I graduated in 1994, as you know, and mentioned the popular segment. And then I was very keen to go abroad to do my PhD because I was very fascinated in particular by development economics because I've been writing about that and also in applied economics. So I was very fascinated in all that. And one of the programs I was very keen to do, I remember that point in time, was something called a DBA at Harvard. So I'm very keen to do. But what I've been advised by the education counselors and everyone at that point in time was that uh, that SICC of just even 3 years, and many US colleges needed at least 4 years work experience or some work experience. Yeah, an extra year, extra year education or some work experience or something is what like it needed for you to really have a shot at some of these things. Of course, at SICC when I was there, I'd taken all my SATs and all the other stuff that you know, to take. I think it was GRDs, I think. So the SAT was earlier, or GRDs, and even for my GRD economics, fast, all that I'd taken. GMATs for MBAs, I think GRD was more for what to do the PhD, accent and stuff. So I did advice. So I did started to work with an Indian financial firm there called Prime Securities, which was a leading financial firm at that point in time in 94, 95. And I started to again work in their foreign exchange desk here in Delhi, is how it started. And I was always saw that as sort of bridge as a prepared to go to my PhD and I will do that. And I kept on writing for the Economic Times back then. And then I got in touch with some people at Morgan Stanley. And those days, Morgan Stanley was a huge name in India. It was the first foreign institutional investor that had set foot in India. And some of the senior people then read my columns. They were sort of very intrigued by who is this kid sitting in India writing about global macroeconomics and stuff. That's why I had the conversations with them. And obviously, it was a very big deal then to work for Morgan Stanley.
It is a big deal even now. And look at the position you were in.
So, anyways, I was back then, and then like they read my articles, including people from New York and stuff. And there were some very senior Indians back then in Morgan Stanley. So they read it, and then I remember they're making clear. But I told them I was asking to my PhD. That's the path I was on. So they made a one line offer to me, which is that you want to study or you want to make money. So I said I want to make money. So then they offered me what then seemed like a very big salary, which is of like $100,000.
Oh my God.
Basics.
Oh my God.
And so then I left private security to join Morgan Stanley, abandoned any plan then of doing a PhD or any other thing. And then I started working at Morgan Stanley here at the Bombay office. And then I would cover the Asian markets as well. And so I go to Singapore a lot at travel the region. So that's how my journey began at Morgan Stanley. And I worked in India mainly for the first 6 years, and some time even spent in Singapore and stuff. But the first 6 years were predominantly in India. I ran the India office for Morgan Stanley Investment Management at that time. I managed all the India funds back then, and then at the age of 28, I was they were very uh, nice to me, which is that they made me a partner, and I was the youngest.
Pride order. That is you is Ruchir. We are so proud.
So then all that happened, and then I moved to New York after that. But the logical thing was that if you were to manage global money, then you need to move to like a global sector. New York is the global capital of finance. So then I moved to New York in January 2023, and that's where I'd been based. There for nearly 22 years now. I've been based in New York. I at Morgan Stanley, I was the head of the global emerging markets business. I also was helped build a global asset allocation business. I was also the chief global strategist. So I wore multiple hats there also. But one thing I did consistent is that I always booked. So then, never been a month since 1991. Uh, Sometimes not been a week even when I have not written. I've always written some. So I wrote for all these years at the Economic Times first, and then with the Times of India in India. Yes. But internationally, I uh, wrote for many years first the Wall Street Journal on their opinion pages. Then for the New York Times, I was an opinion writer, and now I'm a columnist for the Financial Times. So every alternate Monday, I publish my column in the Financial Times on global economics and politics. And I've also written books, as you may know. So that's really been my journey.
First about 5, 6, prolific author.
Well, I've written high books. I wrote the first book called Breakout Nations. That was in 2012. That was an economic catalog of the world. In 2016, I wrote The Rise and Fall of Nations, which was about the 10 things, they should look at to do for nation going to succeed or fail. 2019, I wrote my book on India called Democracy on the Road. One thing which I had done was that back there in the mid-1990s, I formed a group of 20 of us. And every time there's a nature election in India, the 20 of us pair together to cover those elections. And we started that tradition first back in the election in early 1998 national election. And after that, every year we do either the national or one major state election. So we've done over 30 such election trips.
Oh my God.
Then, and I encapsulate that in the book, Democracy on the Road, in 19, because finally for 1998.
Yeah, give idea journey.
Yeah, journey up a year. That's what I wrote. That was in 2019. And that's when I came to SRCC. There's only interviews that we'd filmed at the time of that book. So that was my third book. The fourth book was really a concise adaptation of my second book, The Rise and Fall of Nations. We called it The Pain Booth of Successful Nations. And my latest book came out last year in 2024 called What Went Wrong with Capitalism. And there the basic take, it's a history of capitalism. That how did capitalism start, in the US 250 years ago? How has it evolved over time? And what is the problem today with capitalism? Why are so many people in the world not happy with the results that they're getting from the system we have in place? So that's the history of capitalism that I published in 2024. Yeah, so those are my books.
Oh my God. So I think you're a very keen political observer, like you just now said, right?
Yeah, so it's to like travel. I love traveling in India. And as I said, I've done these over 30 election trips in India. Typically, each one lasts about a week. And it's great for traveling these 20 other writers and media people. And they're all very passionate about the media business. Because we're all very keen political observers. And when you go out to travel in India and the hinterland, then you're spending, at least 12 to 14 hours on the road every day. You better be passionate about it. Otherwise, it's a tough audience.
It's a tough call.
Yeah, like it's a tough journey to do.
So I think you kind of try to see the economic trends with the political, how they are voting and
these are more about, like it's a journey of India. It's about trying to sort of feel what's in people's mind. I know when they come back on these trips, the only question people want to know is who's going to win.
Yes. But then, you're more there to observe and to...
Yeah, it's to like understand what's India, what's happening. You pick up little nuggets about the country, which you wouldn't if you're sitting here. So that's what I do. And economic trend was, like I do an annual show called, the top trends of the year. So that's a separate endeavor. So these are things that I like to do, which is if it keeps you parent, it keeps you intellectually alive. You're forced to read a lot if you remain parent. when you're doing all these things.
How do you get so much time? And I believe that you're writing all the time. I believe you have a book which you've kept for 16 years. I read somewhere where you are writing down and even unclaimed you're writing and whenever fresh idea comes. Is that true?
But I think that writing on plates, I find to be the best time to, because you're very focused. So, writing, I think is great time to do that. Weekends, like the other great time to do that. And I have my own team, which helps me with that. I have a full-time editor, who helps me with all my writings. I have a research team that helps with it. So yeah, it's like, it's not as simple as just sitting on your own and like writing or something, but you have an ecosystem, a team that backs you up with research, backs you up with editing your thoughts. So it's it's a it's entire operation.
Agree.
Yeah.
When can I say something which I think all SRCC people will be proud of? That the only degree that you have uh, is a BCom honors from Shriram College of Commerce. And that has taken you, no, I'm not taking you away from your intellect, your own efforts, but I can very proudly say that we are so proud of you being our alum.
So that's very kind of you to say that. They said that of all the institutions I've been to, my maximum attachment, if I can say so, has been with SRCC, just because I stayed there the longest, and I had and I have very pleasant memories of it. Very pleasant memories of the kind of other students we had, and there was something about it, if I can say so very proudly. There's a look and feel about the college and the quality of students who came,
Yes.
which which felt uh, very uplifting. So I like the energy.
And also challenging where we know the quality of students right sitting next to me, and I'm very proud to say that uh, now that SRCC is stepping into its centenary year in 2026, what is what I would say is your vision for the college for the next, as we move into this new century and our 100 years. And also, what would you like to tell the students? I mean, something, you are definitely a icon for them.
To talk about that, but
Yes.
no, I'd say just a couple of things is the fact that I learned over time that there's no point having one icon or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
because everyone's got their flaws, and how you take up people from the outside, you don't know from the inside, and we compare our inside to other people on the outside. So I'd be very careful about, like, one thing I learned was that even when I was, like in my 20s, I used to also have heroes and icons and stuff. And over time, I just realized that, that there's no one person who, can be your icon. That it's great that you have to be your own self, and then you can be inspired by different people, and you can draw on their qualities. So different people have different qualities which you can appeal to, and you draw on them, and then you should be the composite of that, rather than sort of just follow one person, because often I find that following that one person is almost treacherous, because it happened to me. From what do you find out that one person has a side to him or her which is not very pleasant. So I'd say that it's about having a composite rather than just one person. Is my takeaway over the years that I've learned.
That's a wonderful message. And what other message would you like to give to our students who are currently in SRCC, for their life or,
Yeah.
future?
Well, my mantra in life that I follow all the time and I say to people is live life in parallel, which basically means that that's as I said, these are very personal lessons, and these are not things that I think we should. I don't like to tell people what to do, because I don't like people telling me about how to live my life. So it's about how it has to come from within. It has to be sculpted you and realized. But my own uh, observation and something I practice is that I think a key to happiness is to live life in parallel. What do I mean by that? Because I think a lot of people think that, if I work really hard for 5 years and I focus only on one thing, that's the best thing to do. And then after that, I can do other things. You don't know if you have the option then to do the other things. Right. Whether it's spending time with your parents, with your family, or it's your other passions. And what is that one thing you focus on doesn't materialize? What is that one thing you focus on lets you down in some way? Then you'll be a deeply unhappy person. And what if you find out that even if you achieve what you wanted to, but the other things that are no longer available to you? Uh, let's say you had a partner waiting for you. And like you may say, I'm just focused on this, and you may keep away. After 5 years, I'll think about doing something with you. But what if after 5 years he or she's not there? That can change. What if like you say, okay, I'm gonna just not focus on my family, not gonna focus on work. But what if your family is not there? When you're so I think that it's about living life in parallel, about making sure every month of yours is complete. Is my uh uh idea of
I think it's a beautiful way of living because you must live each day.
yeah.
Do your best. Is that something?
Well, we're doing our best about just enjoying us in each day. And of course, we have to do stuff which we don't enjoy.
Yes.
Which is a fact. So often I'm sitting sometimes in meetings and wondering, why am I doing this? But you realize that part of the package. But if that was the only thing I was doing, I'd be deeply unhappy. But I know, like, yeah, that's part of the package, but other things for me to look forward to. So it's for every day, every week, every month, you have enough stuff to look forward to. And realize that you also have to do some daily chores, you also have to do some daily routine work, which is part of the package. So I think it's about taking that holistic view is my personal takeaway. And therefore, the living life in parallel has become my mantra.
I think I love that mantra and I'm going to follow that. It also just that I wanted to ask you, in what way should an alum, give back to the SRCC and what, how would you?
I think in the US, there's a much better culture of people who donate. I think that's obviously there. But I think that the thing is, as I said, to just engage, with the college to go back. I know that you're doing a lot of things to celebrate the centenary, and I think that in any way to talk about SRCC, their experience there, what really, made it special. So there's a commercial side to it, which is through donations, and the second is just in terms of time invested about engaging, and the third I think is also like the colleges in like Siwanas per college also to get those people together, which is what I think that's and I think that in that regard the some of the American big institutions are very good about that kind of thing. But I think that from whatever I can gather, I spoke to Mr. Sriram also the other day. He was telling you how in different cities around the world also now they're trying to do that about getting Alan together in places like London and other places, and the number of people who are showing up for those events. I think it's for the college, it's would create a sense of community. It's for the island to also feel that they are part of a community, and that I think that then this giving back will just happen naturally, rather than sort of people get coaxed to do it.
Yeah. So, in fact, we had a meet at Dubai, like, Ajay Sri Ramji said,
Yeah.
and in London, and we also are developing a New York chapter. And we would like you to be part of that.
Sure.
And we already have about 50 alums there. And I think, yes, we are, as you have suggested, we are moving to connect again with our alums so that they feel part of it's a big family. The SRCC fraternity is there to stand by. And we had a wonderful time in London where more than 150 alums got together. And and that's what was the idea behind also asking you also. I know you said there are a lot of things to you is also not one of those things.
Right. No, but anyway, as I said that I'm very happy to write and to communicate that way. Speaking about myself feels a bit
No, we are
like self-referential, but like in whatever way I can
Yeah.
give back, I'd be happy.
We would love you to come back to college. We have an annual event called the Business Conclave. We also have a economic festival where we have all the economists coming talk. And we do want you to be able to, come in the centenary year and speak to our students and, give your new views.
Thank you. I'll do that.
And thank you so much for your time. It has indeed been an honor.
Thanks.
And to have you with us. And we are so proud of our alum this morning to have given us this time. And we wish you all the success in the world, good health too, happiness, and may you reach the best of what you are. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving us this time.